Hello friends, in this video I'll be talking about how to create a glass and simulate honey flowing into it. Let's not waste any time and get started right away. First, add a circle to the screen by pressing Ctrl and selecting Mesh greater than Circle from the menu. Next, press the Tab key to enter edit mode. Next, press the E key to extrude the circle and then press the S key to scale it and close the inner part of the circle. Next, press Ctrl and F to fill the gap with a face, closing the remaining area. Now, press Alt, Shift, and left mouse button to select this part of the circle. We will now move this part of the circle upwards. V key will extrude the selected geometry, and pressing Z restricts the movement to the vertical axis, allowing us to move the extrusion up. Let's do this in 3 layers. Now, we need to give this glass some thickness. To do this, we can use the Solidify modifier. This will add thickness to the object, making it look more realistic. You can find this modifier in the modifier panel and adjust the thickness value as needed. After adding thickness, we'll use the subdivision surface modifier to smooth out the edges of the glass. The subdivision surface modifier will help create a smoother, more rounded appearance by adding more geometry and smoothing out the shapes. As you can see, we've added the subdivision surface modifier. We also right-clicked and selected Shade Smooth to further smooth out the surface. This option helps in eliminating any harsh shading and gives the glass a more polished, smooth appearance. To switch from 3D view to 2D view, press the double quote key. This will give you a flat, 2D view of your model for easier editing and adjustments. Now, add a sphere here. This sphere will be the area where the liquid flows from. Press the S key to scale the sphere down a bit and then use the G key to move it slightly above the container. This will position the sphere above the glass, ready for the liquid simulation. We also need to add a cube to this area. This cube will be the domain where the simulation takes place. To do this, press Shift+A and select Mesh greater than Cube, then position it around the sphere and glass to encompass the fluid simulation. Now, set this cube to wireframe mode. You can do this by selecting the cube, then in the Object Properties tab, change the Viewport Display to Wire under the Display section. This will make it easier to see through the cube during the simulation setup. Now, press Ctrl+A to apply all transformations. For the simulation, first select the cube and set it as the fluid domain. Now, select the sphere and go to the Physics tab again. Choose Fluid and set the type to Flow. This will define the sphere as the source of the fluid that will pour into the glass. Finally, select the object where the fluid will flow into. Finally, select the glass, set it to Fluid in the Physics tab, and choose Obstacle to allow the fluid to interact with it. As you can see, the fluid directly falls onto the container, but we want it to flow. To achieve this, we need to adjust the fluid settings. Set the fluid type of the sphere to Inflow in the Physics tab. This will make the fluid continuously flow from the sphere, simulating the honey pouring into the glass. When you press the play button, you'll see that the fluid behaves like water. However, we want it to flow like honey. To do this, we need to adjust the fluid's viscosity settings. In this setting, under the Diffusion section, check the High Viscosity option to make the fluid behave like honey. When you press the play button again, the fluid will now behave like honey, flowing slowly and smoothly. All our settings are complete. We've created the glass and the flowing honey. Now, let's bake these settings. To save the entire simulation, go to the Physics tab and under the Cache section, set the type to All and click Bake. This will save the simulation completely. To save the entire simulation, go to the Physics tab and under the Cache section, set the type to All and click Bake. This will save the simulation completely. We haven't changed the frame value, which is set to 250, but you can adjust this to your desired length for the simulation. It may take some time for all the settings to be saved. I'll speed this part up. All settings are complete and our simulation is ready. Now, let's move on to the other settings. First, let's add a ground plane for our simulation. To add the ground plane, use Ctrl and to add a new mesh, then select plane. To add the ground plane, use Ctrl and to add a new mesh, then select plane. Now that we've added the ground, let's move on to the other settings. Now it's time to adjust the colors. For this, we'll use shading. Now, with the ground selected, go to the Type of Data section and select World. This will allow you to adjust the background and environment settings. Select Background here, then press Ctrl and T to add an image or texture to the background. From the Open section, add a new image. This will also act as the light source for the scene. The image you choose doesn't matter, it can be anything for now. In the render settings, let's start by selecting the render engine. You can choose between Eevee for faster results or Cycles for more realistic rendering. Next, switch from World to Object in the Shading workspace to adjust the material properties of the selected objects. For the glass, create a new material by clicking New and adjust the settings to achieve the desired transparency and color. You can tweak the base color for tint and set the transmission value to maximum for a realistic glass effect. Create a new material for the fluid object. Increase the transmission value to maximum, similar to the glass, for transparency. Adjust the base color to a warm, gold and yellow tone to mimic honey. There is currently no play button on the screen. Let's add it. This way, we can see the result more clearly. As you can see, the honey and the glass are ready. Now, if you'd like, you can also change the color of the ground. To do this, select the ground, then click New in the Material Properties to create a new material for the ground. Switch to Modeling from the top. Now, let's add a camera. Press Ctrl, Alt, and 0 to align the view with the camera. Change the camera's position using the G key. You can also view the camera perspective by pressing the 0 key. The frame you see is our final output. Let's take the final shot with render. And here is the final result of our honey simulation. In this video, we learned how to simulate honey flowing in Blender and made the necessary render adjustments. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share the video. See you in the next video, and for now, take care.